I'm Kathy from Home Sweet Home Animal Rescue. I got into dog rescue years ago. I was always that kid. We lived down south, and I had mentioned once before that dogs are allowed to just wander down there, and I was forever bringing home dogs, and my mother found their families and brought them back. So I've always been that, more compassionate type of person. About 5 years ago, I was working down in one of the cities here in New Jersey, and I kept hearing a dog bark, and I couldn't figure out what that was. It was right off when I got off the highway. So I stopped and investigated. I didn't know if it was tied there, if it was lost, and it was being dragged into a building. And I didn't know why. So I went into that building to find out what was happening, and it turns out it was a shelter, and it still is a shelter. It didn't have any name on it, no markings or anything. And I just started talking to the people, and I just started to foster dogs for other rescues. And then I decided to start Home Sweet Home. A number of ways. A lot of the good shelters reach out to rescue groups directly, and they send us emails with pictures and little bios of the dogs that need to get out of the shelter. Other shelters don't quite do that, but there are what they call cross posters and supporters or advocates for the dogs through Facebook. And they will go on to the shelter's internet site, they will download those pictures, and they will send them to rescue organizations. That's a hard one because there's so many, and it comes a time, and I say this, honestly, I can't help you today, and I'll delete an email. But this group specializes in smaller dogs generally. We do take some large dogs, but generally the smaller ones, small breed of any kind, not a specific breed, and usually under 40 pounds, ideally under 25 pounds. Oh, little white fluffy dogs, okay? The Shih Tzus, the Poodles, non-shedder. Sugar Plum. She was a senior dog, a little Shih Tzu type thing, and she lived in Philadelphia her entire life outside. So when we think outside, we're talking hurricanes, we're talking ice storms, we're talking snowstorms, we're talking rain, heat, everything. And she was in awful condition, absolutely awful condition. And she was adopted, and her adopter sent me a photo, it makes me cry, of her by the fireplace, being all snugly warm. So there's many stories like that, but little Sugar Plum always sticks out. She'll never be cold again, or what? Ears. He's so cute. So Ears was picked up as a stray down in Georgia, and he was taken to the shelter down there where they literally have 1 week to find rescue. This particular shelter does not do adoptions. It's only rescue, and that's it. So I saw Ears through a Facebook page that somebody had tagged me into, and I saw his ears, and I said, that's it. I said, I got you, buddy. You're coming. I got you. So. Shelters are government-run facilities. So again, you're dealing with taxpayers. You're dealing with different cultural differences. There's cultural differences between the South and the North and the East and the West, and you're dealing with different things. And I think it's just that it's more rural. There's lots of rural areas down south, and you have people who are more agricultural minded, where animals are looked as animals, not as dogs as pets type of thing. Somebody that truly understands the responsibility of dog ownership, that it's a lifetime, that it can be a lot of joy and a lot of fun, but there's also work involved. You have to train your dog. I always say, good dogs are not born, they're trained. I do. So I do. I follow up with most of my adopters on a regular basis. I just got some text messages from an adopter, probably about 5 months ago. She adopted Oreo. She just sent me a new picture. They're out hiking today. So she has sent me a couple of pictures of him. So I keep in touch with a lot of them. It's on my mind to call them every so often. I'm Facebook friends with a majority of them, so I can follow the dogs through my news feed and that type of things. Cut. I'm muting for 1 second.
Wait, we haven't talked about donations.
People don't understand how expensive dog rescue is, okay? So the rescue absolutely accepts monetary donations. And if people want to donate items instead, they can email for a list of specific foods. We don't just take any food because you can't blend different foods at changing the diet and everything else. Foods are good, and every so often dog beds because they get destroyed. So, that type of thing. But absolutely. And the rescue is a IRS 501c3 exempt organization, so all donations are tax deductible on your federal return.
Good.
He's such an annoying dog. I can't wait till he goes.